Receiving an inheritance can be life-changing, but if you're in an IVA, it can be a fair bit more complicated. So let's start with what an IVA is. An individual voluntary arrangement, or IVA, is a formal debt solution people often opt for to avoid bankruptcy or to try to get control of their finances. It's drawn up by an insolvency practitioner who helps the signee find ways to pay back their lenders. IVAs are done through insolvency firms, and it has its own benefits and drawbacks, which I've covered in other videos. Now let's look about how an IVA affects receiving an inheritance. When you enter into an IVA, there are restrictions placed on your finances, and any inheritance you receive is treated as a windfall. The windfall clause in an IVA states that any unexpected gains should be used to pay back your debt. This means any inheritance you receive, including property, cash, and jewels, will be handed over to your IVA company to pay off your monthly payments. So, do you have to pay the inheritance to your creditors? The answer is yes. You are legally and formally liable to follow the rules of your IVA agreement, and not paying the money to the IVA company could cause problems with your debt solution plan. But is there a way to keep the inheritance money? The answer is no. There's no legal way to keep the full sum of the inheritance. However, your insolvency practitioner has discretionary power, and if they deem it appropriate, they might let you keep some of the money for small miscellaneous purchases. What if you inherit the money before an IVA? If you inherit anything with monetary value before signing an IVA, the situation is different. You won't have to pay the inheritance to your IVA company because you were not in an agreement to pay to your lenders at the time of receiving it. So should you delay an IVA when you're getting an inheritance? If you want to keep the inheritance, you might want to delay your IVA plan. However, after receiving the inheritance, don't pay any of your creditors because it will be implicated as a preferential payment and could cause problems with your IVA. To be clear, hiding inheritance money from an IVA is a breach of the windfall clause and is technically illegal. The consequences of hiding an inheritance from your IVA include termination of your IVA agreement and even bankruptcy. So, receiving an inheritance while in an IVA is a bit complicated, but it's important to follow the rules of your IVA agreement to avoid any legal and financial consequences. If you're in an IVA agreement and receive an inheritance, make sure to talk to your insolvency practitioner about your options. If you're struggling with debt, then an IVA might be right for you, but there are other options available here in the UK. Some are free to use and some include fees, and each will have their own pros and cons. If you want to find out more about the debt solutions available, then we've created a really great form that you might be interested in checking out. Click the link in the description and answer a few multiple choice questions like the total amount of your debt, how many people you owe, your living situation, and we'll connect you with one of our trusted partners so you can find out more and start taking steps towards improving your financial situation.